Hi, my name is Andrew Welsh, and I'm a CSE supporting North America, and I would briefly like to show you an overview of how we can use Terraform for automation, specifically how you can use Terraform with FortiManager for provisioning a FortiGate. So on the right side of my screen, we have a blank FortiGate. You can see that there are no additional policies, there's no additional routes, objects, or VIPs, or anything like that. We have a FortiManager on the same subnet. There are no managed devices, just more or less a blank FortiManager as well. I do have a demo ADOM, which has no devices. I do have a CLI script, and this script will configure interfaces and DHCP servers and routes and things like that. So that is the one thing that's already predefined. I don't have any additional policy packages. I don't have any additional policies set up at this time. So go back to the root ADOM. So that's the environment that we're going to use to provision a FortiGate using Terraform. So now we'll look at the left side of the screen. We have a Docker file which we'll use for creating a container which we can use to run the Terraform file, which I'm going to show you here. And I'd like to take a few minutes to walk through this file, because if you don't understand what is happening in this file, it's very easy to miss all that's happening at the automation layer when I run this file, because it happens very quickly. So we'll start at the top. We are declaring the provider to use for Terraform. In this case, we're using the FortiManager provider. Next, we are adding the FortiGate to the FortiManager. Essentially, we're promoting it from an unauthorized or an unmanaged device to a managed device, and we are putting it in the demo ADOM. Notice we don't have the serial number, we have the device name, FortiGate1. The next step is to apply configuration to the device. So you can see here we're running a CLI script. The script is called FortiGate Provision. That's the CLI script I just showed you. And again, we're using the demo ADOM, and we're installing the configuration on FortiGate1. Now if you look at this line here that says depends on, this is saying do not execute this resource until the previous resource has been fully completed. And the reason behind that is we don't want the FortiManager to try to install configuration to a device that has not been fully installed on the FortiManager yet. It can take a few seconds, maybe even a few minutes potentially, for a FortiGate to be installed on a FortiManager and have its configuration fully synchronized on the FortiManager. So we have this depends on, which is saying wait until the previous resource is finished. Once we've installed the configuration, we will create a policy package. We're going to call it West Branches, and we will assign a installation target of FortiGate1 to this policy package. Next, we'll create an address object, and then we'll create a VIP with some information there. And once we've created the address object and the VIP, we'll create a policy within the policy package that we just created. So the name of the policy is allowhr. We can see that the source address will be the address we just created. The destination address will be the VIP we just created. And then down here you can see that the policy package will be the policy package we just created. And the final resource is a little different. You can see here that the name of it is FortiOS FortiManager JSON RPC request. So this is essentially a resource to allow the end user to fire a generic API call to the FortiManager. In this case, I'm telling the FortiManager to push configuration policy down to FortiGate1. So I really just wanted to add this last resource in to show you that you can use any generic API, and that was very helpful for when you are setting up automation the way you want to configure it, is this really allows for a lot of functionality for the end user. So now that we've seen the Terraform file, we've seen the flow of execution, and we know what's going to happen, we will build our Docker image so we can create that container and run it. Now that we've built our image, we'll go ahead and interactively run it. we'll step into the shell. At this point, we can see that we have the Terraform file in our container. We will initialize Terraform. Terraform has found the correct provider to use. And at this point, we'll say Terraform plan. It'll check the syntax of the file. It'll show us that there are 7 resources that will be added. At this point, we can say apply. Before we say yes, we want to confirm that we've queued up the demo correctly. And we need to set central management to point to the FortiManager. Now you could use FortiDeploy for this in a production environment, but for the sake of this demo, I will manually set this up so that central management is now pointing to the FortiManager. Go back to device and groups. We should now see that we have an unauthorized device called FortiGate1, which is perfect. So now we are ready to fire the demo. And at this point, the demo will promote this FortiGate to the demo ADOM, apply configuration, apply policy, and then push that all down and provision the FortiGate as expected. At this point, we'll say yes. And we can see here that it is now adding FortiGate 1. So if we go to the demo ADOM, we can see FortiGate 1, the configuration status is unknown because it's still being synchronized. Now that that's finished, it took 20 seconds to install the FortiGate, and everything else happens very fast. So if I refresh this screen, I want to show you that the policy package is being installed. So we'll walk through the history of the execution. We can see that adding FortiGate 1 took 20 seconds. Running the CLI script and pushing configuration to the FortiGate took 6 seconds. It created the policy package, created the address object, created the VIP, created the policy, and then installed the policy package and configuration. So let's take a look at that. FortiGate 1, the configuration status is fully synchronized and it's been associated to the West Branches policy package, which is exactly what we want to see. So you can see that the FortiGate has been fully provisioned. Go over to policy and objects. We'll see that there is now a West Branches policy package. Should have the installation targets of FortiGate 1. There we go. We can look at the policy. This should have the policy that we created, allow HR, as the address object for the source and destination of the VIP that we created. So at this point, from the FortiManager's perspective, the FortiGate is fully provisioned. Let's log back into the FortiGate to confirm that the policies and configuration are in sync with the FortiManager. We'll log in read-only. Just look at the policy. We can see that allow HR, the policy that was created by Terraform, we can see that it has an address object of HR domain for the source, and the destination has a VIP. And at that point, we know that we are fully provisioned. We've used Terraform with FortiManager to provision a FortiGate. So I hope this helps you understand how you can use Terraform to automate your environment. Thank you for your time and thank you for watching.